What's going on, guys? This is Sam, and today we're going to be doing a camera test between three of the hottest phones on the market right now: the Apple iPhone X, the Google Pixel 2, and of course, the Samsung Galaxy S8. And before we even get started into the nitty-gritty details of what I like about some photos and what I hate about some others, and what makes good lighting and bad lighting and how all of the lenses work, I want to tell you that all of these cameras are really good. So whether you pick the Galaxy S8 or the Pixel 2 or the iPhone X, at the end of the day, you will be getting a really good camera. But let's go ahead and get started with these three photos right here. As you can see, you're not supposed to look at the sun, and lenses and cameras generally do not do well when you point them at the sun. But what I was amazed by is how well the Galaxy S8 and iPhone X did. The Pixel 2 has huge lines going across from the rays of sunlight. Pixel 2 gets a fat L here, but on the Galaxy S8 and the iPhone X, very impressive. Once again, you can see how the light is distributed, the exposure near the bottom to middle of the image. The Galaxy S8 chose a little bit of a darker approach, and the iPhone X once again took a little bit of a brighter approach and lit up the grass so you could see if someone would be sitting there. I think the winner of this one depends on what you're trying to capture. Personally, I was just trying to capture the landscape to see how the lens would do with the sun and the sky and the grass, and I'm going to give it to the Galaxy S8 because I like the darker look here. If you were trying to capture someone or something under the trees or below the sun, you would want to go with the iPhone X because it would light that area up. But for me, Galaxy S8 looks fantastic. This next series of photos was really interesting. Got some grass near the top, some hay or leaves near the middle, and then rocks down at the very bottom. The iPhone X shows a really dark approach here, but I like the way that looks a lot. Even though realistically, when I was taking the photo, the Pixel 2 did the best job of accurately representing what I took a picture of, accurately portraying the grass. The Galaxy S8 looks pretty good in that photo over there on the left, but the grass is a little bit too bright. The iPhone X has the same problem near the very top of the frame there. The grass is a little bit too green. Now, objectively, I think the Pixel 2 has the best image here because everything is properly exposed, everything is totally accurate. It's like this is my eye seeing the image in real life. But personally, I like the darker look of the colors here and the shadows on the rocks over the Pixel 2 and the Galaxy S8. So personal opinion is that the iPhone X wins, but I think the objective opinion is that the Pixel 2 just did a really good job of capturing that image in general. The Galaxy S8's colors look a little bit off and a little bit fake to me, so Pixel 2 gets the W on that one. On to this next series of images. Pretty much everything that I said about those is going to be true for these. You can see immediately the iPhone X's image is so much darker than the Galaxy S8's and the Pixel 2's. But when it comes to realism, the Pixel 2 and the Galaxy S8 did a better job of accurately portraying the photo. I would say the iPhone X actually looks a little bit too deeply colored in this photo because that's not realistic. It doesn't look the best. I want to give the winner again to the Pixel 2 or the Galaxy S8. I'm having a really hard time deciding just because everything else is so similar in the image. The Pixel 2 chose a slightly cooler color approach. The Galaxy S8 took a slightly warmer color approach. You see some more yellows in the Galaxy S8, some more blue colors in the Pixel 2. This is again going to be personal preference. Being as objective as I can be, I think the Pixel 2's image wins here. The Galaxy S8 just looks a little bit too yellow or orange and a little bit too warm. I like the cooler colors of the Pixel 2, but honestly, all three of these photos are good, besides the fact that the iPhone X is just a little bit too dark. This next set of images is sort of similar to the very first ones we took a look at, where you've got the concrete street down at the very bottom, some cars in the middle, and buildings in the middle. Up at the very top, that beautiful blue sky. Looking at the colors alone right now, I like the way the iPhone X captured the image because I really like those deep blues in the sky. The Pixel 2 goes for that completely realistic approach where it's very natural, it's a beautiful image. I love that the Pixel does that, and that's a key difference between the Pixel and the iPhone X and the Galaxy S8. The Pixel 2 here also has more detail than the iPhone 8 and the Galaxy S8. To take a look at that, let's go ahead and blow up the image and look at these trees a little bit more closely. On the Galaxy S8, it looks okay, but it gets a little fuzzy. You can't see excessive detail when it comes to looking at the tree. If we head over to the iPhone X, I think out of these three photos, I see the best amount of detail here because you can see everything very clearly even when we zoom in. But if we go over to the Pixel 2, I like the overall colors on this image better. So it depends on what you're looking for. Honestly, the iPhone X and the Pixel 2 are so close here that I'm going to call it a tie. I hope that was a pretty good sample of some outdoor shots. I want to switch over to low light now because this is also something very important. It's not going to be optimal golden hour lighting conditions forever. Let's say we go somewhere like in a parking garage, and that's exactly what we did. Once again, the Galaxy S8 is over on the left, iPhone X in the middle, Pixel 2 over on the right. None of these images get a clear W because they didn't really do that great of a job. I mean, it looked okay, It was good, but they still didn't do fantastic. There was no phone that I was just blown away by when it came to low light. If I have to pick a winner here, we have to start taking a closer look at these images, because there's no way that you can just look at these without seeing the detail and the noise that has been created because of the lack of light. Noise just means if they have those little dots present, when you get into a lot of low light situations, you will see those on a number of different cameras. Let's go ahead and blow each of these images up individually again. The Galaxy S8 looks okay here. There's enough light. There's not optimal light, so it's not perfect, but there's enough light where you don't see a lot of grain being added to the photo. Switching over to the iPhone 10 right here, takes a little bit of a warmer color approach than the Galaxy S8, just like it did in the very first photos we took a look at. I think that the Galaxy S8 did better than the iPhone 10. I see some more fuzz here than I did on the Galaxy S8. Finally, let's take a look at the Google Pixel 2. This took a very cool color approach. I can't remember if that was the actual color when I took the photo, but I would assume it to be, because that's how a lot of the other photos have been. Low light also not amazing here on the Pixel 2. I'm going to have to go with the Galaxy S8 because I like that photo the best again. Now that we've taken a look at some objects in low light, let's go ahead and take a look at a person in low light. This is me standing in the same parking garage that I took the last photo. Not great lighting at all. Let's kick it off with the Galaxy S8 right here. It looks okay. There's some smearing of detail in the face. I feel like you can't see a lot. Not very blown away by this image at all. Galaxy S8 looked a lot better when it came to an object. Let's switch over now to the iPhone 10. This one is decent as well, but I see some smearing of detail in the face again. There's not a lot of clear detail just because there's not the light here to make that happen in the first place. I'm very interested to blow up the Google Pixel 2. This one right here took a very cool color approach, and there is a little bit more detail in the face than I was seeing in the other photos. I'm not, once again, blown away by the low light performance in any of these. I am going to give this one to the Google Pixel 2 because even the rest of the image seems to have more light in it than the Galaxy S8 and the iPhone 10. And if you're taking a picture of someone, you want to see as much light as possible and also retain that detail as well, which is what I feel like the Pixel 2 did here. If we head back outside, there are a couple of other photos that I want to take a look at. When we took this photo again, it's funny. It was the opposite of the first time we had some sun rays that we were trying to deal with. The Galaxy S8 has a lot of sun rays here where it didn't have a lot the first time. The iPhone 10 and the Pixel 2 do not. We took these at the same time, so I wasn't manipulating the image to make one look worse over the other. It just must not have taken as well for some reason. The Pixel 2 looks very accurate when it comes to color. The grass looks sort of fake at the very top, though. I feel like the iPhone 10 looks the most natural here. I really like the darker colors in this one. Did a great job of showing the Bradley University seal here, and if I had to pick one, Galaxy S8 takes a clear L for that ray of sunlight. The Pixel 2 just looks a little bit too muted here. I think that color is really important sometimes where you want to capture completely natural lighting and completely natural color, but here just isn't really doing it for me. I like the iPhone 10. I like the darker color. It makes the seal, which is the focal point of the photo, pop a little bit more, which is obviously what we are going to be looking at. Moving on to this next series of photos, I wanted to see how an object in direct sunlight would look. I wanted to see how shadows would be, how exposure in darker areas of the frame would be. The Galaxy S8 made the sky look really pretty in this photo. The Pixel 2, once again, you're seeing these muted colors, and I think you're going to keep seeing those again and again. And I'm not saying muted in a bad way, like it's not taking the photos properly, just overall the colors aren't popping in the Pixel 2 photos. They look more accurate and natural, very, very normal, I would say. The iPhone 10 took a little bit of a lighter approach here because it tried to raise the exposure to include detail in the bushes on the right side of the sign. Here I like the Pixel 2 and Galaxy S8's photos the best because I don't really need to see detail in those bushes. Clearly I'm taking a picture of a sign, but the camera overexposed that area just a little bit, and then it made the rest of the image look a little bit less pretty because it was a little bit more bright than the Pixel 2 and Galaxy S8's photos. I like the dark shadows in the Galaxy S8's photo here, but overall I'm gonna give this one to the Pixel 2 because it balances the bright sun hitting the house on the left side of the photo in the background. The iPhone 10, because it blew up the exposure, overexposed that area, didn't look super good. I also like the color of the grass in the Pixel 2, just natural colors overall. This next photo, we are getting very comfortable with a tree up close and personal of some tree bark. I wanted to see the detail up close in this photo because even though you're taking a lot of portrait photos or a lot of pictures of buildings or of nature where you are farther away, sometimes you want those good, clean macro shots with some blur around the edges. Yet again in this series of photos, the Galaxy S8 and the iPhone 10 took deeper and darker color approaches, even though that may have not been the most realistic thing, where the Pixel 2 took a very clean, natural looking, lighter image image of this tree bark. I can't pick a clear winner here because they all look so similar. There's no image that just speaks to me on this one and says this is the best. I would say either the Galaxy S8 or the iPhone 10 are my personal favorites, but once again, for that natural look, we got the Pixel 2. We haven't talked about selfies yet. Let's talk about some selfies. The Pixel 2 here is my favorite image. There is something about the detail that you can see on my face that is better than the iPhone 10 and the Galaxy S8. I have continually roasted the S8 for making your face look too baby-like and too smooth and too clear. If you like that, you will love the S8 because I've never taken a selfie that has looked realistic in my life with that phone. On the iPhone 10, it's a mix of the both. You've got a lot of detail here, but it sort of looks a little bit smoother than I'd like. With the Pixel 2, I feel like you just get a really accurate, detailed image. Colors in the background look perfectly on point. My backpack straps are super black. You can see a little bit of the YouTube logo. My face just has detail and it looks incredible. You can see on my face there's just more stuff there than I could see on the iPhone 10 or on the Galaxy S8. The Galaxy S8 just smooths everything out, and I'm not a fan of that at all. The iPhone 10 looks like it's somewhere in between the Pixel 2 and the Galaxy S8, but 100% for selfies. If that is the main camera you will be using on a phone, the Pixel 2 continues to impress me whenever I take a selfie. So overall, I was really impressed by the photos that each of these phones were capturing, but it is 2017. Most major smartphone manufacturers have that nailed down by now. But video is an entirely different beast. Let's kick things off with the Samsung Galaxy S8. First thing I'm going to notice here is the motion is pretty good, but all of a sudden, just a few seconds later, you'll notice that it tries to refocus really awkwardly sometimes. And when you move the camera around, the stabilization produces this warping and bending of the frame that I am not a fan of at all. I've been shooting video for 5 or 6 or 7 years. Instantaneously, this camera is a no-go for me when it comes to video because you can't have video look like that when you shoot it. It's not good, and I think you deserve more from a $600 or $700 phone. There's not a whole lot of detail in the trees. You can see a little bit of detail in the blue sky, but it's more of a very faded blue here. Lots of white coming in there as well. The motion on the actual video is good. It captures things really well, but I'm not blown away by this. Let's head over now to the iPhone 10. At first, it doesn't look very good. As I move the camera up just a little bit, it's able to finally capture the blue color of the sky. You can see detail of the clouds, and the trees in the background look really great. The motion of the car is pretty much identical to the Samsung Galaxy S8, but once again, the stabilization is really weird here. It's something that I've never seen from an iPhone before. Usually it's pretty good, pretty natural looking, but it keeps popping in and out of focus, and it's not able to adjust the slight shaking of my hand, which is kind of an issue for me with the iPhone. Once again, it's something that I've never seen before and something that I did not anticipate to see until I watched this back in post. Now let's go over to the Google Pixel 2. Much darker image. You can see it properly exposed everything in the middle of the frame. I like that lighting. The trees have a good amount of detail, but if you go up to the sky, let me know down below in the comments what you see, because it is not clouds. It is just a very, very, very faded blue. It looks very white. I don't like that at all. The motion here is really good. Where the Google Pixel 2 shines, without question, is stability. Can you tell that this one isn't on a tripod? Because this is being handheld right now, and it doesn't look like one of those fake gimbals where it's not natural. This is handheld stability, and it is absolutely incredible. Blows the iPhone 10 and the Galaxy S8 out of the water. Very impressive there. Because the results of this initial video test were so much different than what I expected, I thought that it could have been something on my end that was causing the problem, so I wanted to run the exact same test again in different lighting conditions the day after. So I did that as I was editing this video. First up is the Samsung Galaxy S8. Immediately, the stability is okay here, but there's still those same weird warping and bending issues, and the motion of the cars and the clouds and the trees is good. Colors seem to be pretty solid as well. This was all shot in 4K 30 FPS across the board on the Galaxy S8, the iPhone 10, and the Pixel 2, but still not the best experience. Heading over to the iPhone 10, it's a brighter shot, but the stability here is definitely better than it was yesterday. As I'm watching this video, it's not going in and out as much, but it's not perfect. It doesn't seem as good as video on iPhones in the past, or at least stability-wise, it doesn't seem as good. The colors are really nice. You can see a little bit more detail in the sky. I like the motion of everything in the video. And finally, we're going to head over to the Pixel 2. Once again, stability here is rock solid. It's a much darker image like the Samsung Galaxy S8 when compared to the iPhone 10, but I like this one the best. The weird thing with the Pixel 2 here is that the detail seems more smushed together. I feel like with the iPhone 10, you see the most in the image, even though the stability isn't perfect, but with the Pixel 2, the stability is just unparalleled. It does not look like someone is holding this. It's absolutely insane, and Google has killed it this time around when it comes to video stability. There's not a whole lot happening across the board in these three videos, but where things get crazy is when you start walking as you are recording. Once again, 4K 30 frames per second, but look at the video here on the Samsung Galaxy S8. It is practically unwatchable. It's warping and bending. It looks so unnatural, and it takes away from actually watching the video because I'm personally so distracted by that bending and warping. If we head over to the iPhone 10 now, it's better. It's watchable, but it still is not that great. It looks more natural as you're walking, but there still is some slight warping and bending of the frame. It is definitely better than the Samsung Galaxy S8. I think the iPhone 10 does a better job with the stability, but once again, where things shine is on the Google Pixel 2. Look at this stability. You can see that I'm walking, and there is some weird artifacting happening with some things in the video. The colors are sort of like glitching around. I don't know how to describe that. I hope you can see it. It's like things get fuzzy for a second, and then they go back to normal because the phone is trying to process everything at the same time, along with taking the stability into account. And it looks weird again. I'm not happy with the video on any three of these phones. If I had to pick one, the Google Pixel 2 looks the best for stability, but when it comes to the actual quality of the image, I think the iPhone 10 looks the best, and the Samsung Galaxy S8 honestly does not make the list. It's just too bad in every single category that I'm looking at. I really hope that in some respect this video influenced your buying decision, whether it was for the Google Pixel 2 or the Samsung Galaxy S8 or the Apple iPhone 10. When it comes to the final results, my final verdict, the best camera for taking photos, I think, is the Google Pixel 2. Not like hands down or by so much, but I think overall, when everything is considered, detail, exposure, noise, I like the Google Pixel 2 the best. The iPhone 10 is a very, very close second, but the Galaxy S8 for me just fell somewhere short in between. It shines in some case scenarios, but in others, the colors are too exposed and they look too bright, and I don't like that look. Now personally, and less objectively, I like the darker look of a lot of the photos that are taken on the iPhone 10. I like the way that looks, but you might like the much more natural look of the Google Pixel 2, and overall, I think that it is the best camera of these three. When it came to video, I would objectively say that the iPhone 10 was the best. It did struggle with stabilization. I think that was because the lighting was really strange. That was why the Galaxy S8 struggled a lot. And I think that's why we saw the artifacting on the Pixel 2. But for overall video quality, all things considered, personally, I like the iPhone 10 the best. That's the one that I would go with, and I would objectively say that the iPhone 10 does shoot the best video still. The Google Pixel 2 very close behind. The Galaxy S8, come on Samsung, we paid $700 or $800 for that phone, and the warping and bending of the frames is completely unacceptable. I really hope that over the past year, Samsung has spent time investing in their video division so that on the Samsung Galaxy S9, we do not see that warping and bending, because for me, that is a serious issue. If you guys enjoyed this video, it does help me out if you drop a like down below, and of course, hit subscribe for more videos like this in the future. I've been Sam, I hope you are doing great, and I will talk to you in the next one.